When you stop caring about him, something extraordinary begins to happen. You start to rediscover your self-worth. Too often, we tether our value to someone else's approval, affection, or recognition. We convince ourselves that their opinion defines us, and without their validation, we feel incomplete. But the truth is, your worth has never been tied to a person. It was established long before you met him. It was spoken into existence by the one who created you, who formed you with intention and love. For so long, you've been carrying the weight of trying to make someone see your value. You've adjusted, compromised, and even lost pieces of yourself just to keep someone else happy. But let me tell you something, if someone can't recognize the treasure that you are, it doesn't diminish your value, it only reveals their inability to see clearly. A diamond doesn't stop shining because someone walks past it without noticing. Its brilliance remains, and so does yours. When you stop pouring all your energy into someone who doesn't appreciate you, you begin to see yourself differently. The fog lifts and you realize how much you've been giving without receiving in return. You start to ask yourself, why have I been working so hard for someone else's attention when my Creator has already declared me enough? The process of reclaiming your self-worth begins with a shift in focus. You stop looking outward for affirmation and start looking inward. You begin to appreciate the unique qualities that make you who you are, your kindness, your strength, your resilience. You start to celebrate the things that you've overlooked because you were too busy trying to impress someone else. And as you do this, something incredible happens. You start to feel lighter, freer, and more confident. This isn't about arrogance, it's about recognizing the truth of who you are. You are fearfully and wonderfully made, crafted by a loving hand that doesn't make mistakes. When you understand this, you no longer need to beg for love or chase after someone's approval. You walk with a quiet confidence, knowing that you are already enough. It's not an easy journey. There will be moments of doubt, times when you're tempted to fall back into old patterns. But each time you resist the urge to care more about someone else's opinion than your own peace, you take another step toward freedom. Each time you choose yourself, you honor the person God created you to be. Reclaiming your self-worth isn't just about letting go of him, it's about embracing you. It's about acknowledging that your happiness doesn't depend on someone else. It's about understanding that you are worthy of love, respect, and kindness, not because of what you do or who you're with, but simply because you exist. As you step into this new chapter, you'll notice a change in the way you see relationships. You'll no longer settle for crumbs when you deserve the feast. You'll set boundaries not to push people away, but to protect the treasure that you are. And you'll attract people who see your value without you having to prove it. So what happens when you stop caring about him? You start caring about you, and when you do, you create space for God to move in your life in ways you never imagined. You open the door to healing, growth, and blessings that were waiting for you all along. Let go of the need to be seen by someone who can't appreciate you. Instead, stand tall, knowing that you are already seen, known, and loved by the one who matters most. Trust that in his eyes you are enough, and nothing will ever change that. When you stop caring about him, you begin to experience a profound sense of freedom from the emotional chains that have kept you bound. For too long, your energy has been consumed by trying to hold on to someone who may not have been holding on to you with the same fervor. You've tried to fix, to please, to meet expectations that always seem just out of reach. It's exhausting, isn't it? That constant cycle of giving and giving, hoping that one day it will be enough to make him stay, to make him care as much as you do. But here's the truth, no relationship is worth sacrificing your peace of mind. When you pour all of yourself into someone who doesn't reciprocate, you're not just losing time, you're losing pieces of yourself. Every moment spent worrying about how he feels, what he thinks, or whether you're enough is a moment stolen from your own joy, growth, and purpose. When you stop caring about someone who doesn't truly value you, it's not about giving up or failing. It's about choosing yourself and reclaiming your emotional well-being. It's about breaking free from the unhealthy attachment that keeps you tied to a source of pain and frustration. Letting go doesn't mean you don't love or care. It means you've decided to love yourself enough to walk away from what hurts. At first, it might feel like a loss. After all, you've invested so much of your heart, time, and effort into this relationship. But as you step back, you'll begin to see things more clearly. You'll realize how much of your happiness was tied to someone else's actions, how much of your identity became wrapped up in being what they needed. And with that clarity comes a sense of liberation. When you stop chasing after someone who doesn't value you, you make room for peace to enter your life. That constant tension, the second guessing, the endless emotional tug of war, it all starts to fade. In its place, you'll find a stillness that allows you to breathe again, to think clearly, and to reconnect with yourself. Breaking free from emotional bondage also allows you to rediscover your own power. For too long, you've given that power away, letting someone else dictate your happiness, your self-esteem, and even your sense of purpose. But when you stop caring about him, you take that power back. You begin to set boundaries, not just for others, but for yourself. You decide what you will and won't tolerate, and in doing so, you create a space where you can thrive. This process isn't always easy. There will be moments of doubt, times when you wonder if you made the right choice. You might feel a pang of guilt or worry about what he thinks. But remember, caring for someone doesn't mean you have to sacrifice your own well-being. It's okay to love from a distance, to wish them well while choosing to protect your own heart. As you break free from these emotional chains, you'll find that your focus begins to shift. Instead of pouring all your energy into someone else, you'll start investing in yourself. You'll have the time and space to pursue your passions, to nurture your relationships with family and friends, and to grow spiritually. You'll discover the things you thought you needed from him: validation, support, love were always within you, waiting to be unlocked. And here's the beautiful part: when you let go of what's not meant for you, you make room for what is. You open yourself up to relationships that are mutual, fulfilling, and uplifting. You attract people who see your value without you having to prove it, who cherish you for who you are, not what you can do for them. So when you stop caring about him, you're not losing anything, you're gaining everything. You're gaining your peace, your power, and your freedom to live a life that's full, joyful, and aligned with your purpose. Trust that letting go is not the end, it's the beginning of something far greater. When you stop caring about him, you open the door to rediscovering your purpose. For so long, your energy has been centered on someone else, what they think, how they feel, and whether you're enough for them. That focus has a way of pulling you away from what truly matters, the life and purpose God designed uniquely for you. It's easy to lose sight of your own path when you're consumed by the idea of keeping someone else happy. You start to mold yourself to fit their needs, their desires, and their expectations. And in doing so, you often forget the dreams you once held close, the goals that made your heart race, and the passions that once set your soul on fire. But when you finally let go, when you release the weight of caring too much about someone who may not be aligned with your journey, you begin to hear the quiet whispers of your own purpose calling you back. You weren't created to live a life focused on pleasing someone else. Your life is meant to be full of meaning, impact, and fulfillment. When you stop directing all your energy outward and turn it inward, you begin to see the gifts and talents that have been lying dormant within you. These are the very things God placed in you to accomplish the work only you can do. This rediscovery doesn't happen all at once, it's a process. At first you might feel a void where that person's presence used to be. But that void isn't empty, it's space. Space for growth, for self-reflection, and for aligning yourself with the purpose you were meant to pursue. In this newfound space, you have the freedom to ask yourself questions that might have been overshadowed by the noise of the relationship. What are my passions? What brings me joy? What kind of impact do I want to have in this world? As you begin to seek answers, you'll notice something incredible. The time and energy you once poured into someone else become fuel for your own dreams. You start to explore opportunities that align with your passions. Maybe you pick up a project you once put aside. Maybe you step into a calling you've been avoiding out of fear or doubt. Whatever it is, you'll find that stepping into your purpose feels more fulfilling than anything you've experienced before. This journey isn't just about rediscovering your dreams, it's also about aligning yourself with God's plan. When you stop caring about someone who wasn't meant to walk this path with you, you make room for God to direct your steps. You begin to trust that His plan is far greater than anything you could have imagined. And as you walk in obedience, you'll see doors open that you never thought possible. Letting go of someone who doesn't align with your purpose can be painful. But remember, not everyone is meant to walk with you for the entire journey. Some people are only meant to be in your life for a season, to teach you lessons that prepare you for what's next. And when their season is over, holding on only delays your progress. Rediscovering your purpose is also about embracing the person you are becoming. You are stronger, wiser, and more resilient because of the experiences you've been through. Don't let those experiences go to waste. Use them as a foundation to build the life you were meant to live. Let them fuel your passion to make a difference, to leave a mark, and to live fully in the purpose God has for you. When you stop caring about Him, you start caring about what truly matters. You begin to see your life as a gift, one that is meant to be cherished and used for something greater than yourself. And as you step into your purpose, you'll realize that the peace and fulfillment you've been searching for were never tied to another person. They were always waiting within you, ready to be discovered. trust that this journey is leading you to something beautiful, something far greater than you could have ever imagined. When you stop caring about him, you open yourself to finding a deeper inner peace that only faith can bring. For so long, your heart has been caught in the storm of emotions, trying to hold on, trying to fix what felt broken, and trying to make someone see your worth. That kind of effort is exhausting, and it pulls you away from the serenity that comes with trusting God completely. You see, peace isn't something we can achieve through control or effort. It's not found in trying to make someone stay or trying to change their feelings. True peace comes when we release the situation into God's hands and trust that He knows what's best for us. It's in that surrender that we begin to find rest for our weary hearts. When you stop caring about someone who doesn't value you, it's not about shutting off your emotions or becoming indifferent. It's about recognizing that you don't have to carry the weight of the relationship alone. You don't have to fight for something that isn't meant for you. God didn't create you to live in turmoil, constantly questioning your worth or your place in someone else's life. He created you for peace, and sometimes finding that peace means letting go. Letting go doesn't mean giving up, it means giving it over to God. It means saying, Lord, I've done everything I can. I've given my best, and now I'm trusting you to handle the rest. That act of surrender is powerful because it shifts the burden from your shoulders to His. And when you truly let go, you'll find that the peace you've been searching for was always there, waiting for you to step into it. At first, it might feel uncomfortable. You've grown used to the chaos, to the ups and downs, and even to the pain. But as you begin to release your grip on the situation, you'll notice a quiet stillness start to settle in your heart. That stillness is God's presence, reminding you that you are not alone and that He is working all things together for your good. This peace doesn't mean you won't face challenges or moments of doubt. There will be times when you're tempted to look back, to question whether you made the right choice. But each time those doubts arise, remind yourself of the promise that God has given you a peace that surpasses all understanding. This peace isn't dependent on your circumstances or on another person's actions. It comes from knowing that God is in control. As you lean into this peace, you'll find that your perspective begins to change. The things that once consumed your thoughts and drained your energy no longer hold the same power over you. You start to see the situation for what it truly is, and you recognize that your happiness and fulfillment don't depend on someone else. They come from within and from your relationship with God. This newfound peace also allows you to focus on what truly matters. Instead of being caught up in the what ifs and whys, you can start to pour your energy into the things that bring you joy and purpose. You can invest in relationships that uplift and support you. You can pursue dreams and goals that align with the person God created you to be. When you stop caring about Him in the way that keeps you bound, you make room for God to move in your life. You allow Him to bring healing to your heart and to guide you toward the blessings He has prepared for you. You begin to trust that His plans are far greater than anything you could have imagined. Letting go and finding peace doesn't mean the journey is over. It means you're stepping into a new chapter, one filled with hope, freedom, and the promise of a brighter future. Trust in God's plan and rest in the assurance that His peace will carry you through every season of your life. When you stop caring about Him, you begin to reclaim your energy, your focus, and the strength you didn't even realize you had lost. For so long, your thoughts and actions have revolved around someone else, what they need, how they feel, and what you can do to keep them in your life. That kind of focus can be all-consuming, leaving little room for you to tend to your own needs, passions, and growth. But when you decide to shift that focus back to yourself, an incredible transformation begins. At first, it might feel strange. You've spent so much time and effort pouring into someone else that prioritizing yourself feels unfamiliar, even uncomfortable. But this is where the journey begins, by realizing that your energy is finite and should be invested in things that nurture your soul and align with your purpose. When you stop channeling all your emotional resources into someone who doesn't reciprocate or value your efforts, you start to feel a weight lift. This newfound freedom creates space for clarity. You begin to see the ways you've neglected your own well-being, putting their needs above your own time and time again. You recognize how often you've sacrificed your peace to maintain a connection that may not have been as fulfilling as you thought. With that awareness comes an opportunity to redirect your energy toward what truly matters: your personal growth, your faith, and your joy. Focusing on yourself isn't selfish, it's essential. It allows you to reconnect with the person you are outside of the relationship. You start to rediscover the things that bring you happiness and fulfillment. Maybe it's a hobby you've set aside, a career goal you've delayed, or friendships you've unintentionally neglected. Whatever it is, now is the time to pour into those areas and let them flourish. You'll also find that this shift in focus helps you rebuild your confidence. When you spent so much time seeking validation from someone else, it's easy to forget that you're capable, strong, and worthy all on your own. But as you invest in yourself, you start to see your potential in a new light. You realize that you don't need anyone else's approval to pursue your dreams or to feel whole. That confidence becomes a foundation for every decision you make moving forward. Redirecting your energy also deepens your relationship with God. Without the distractions and emotional drain of an unbalanced relationship, you have more time and space to focus on your spiritual growth. You begin to hear God's voice more clearly guiding you toward His purpose for your life. You start to rely on Him for strength and direction, trusting that He will fill the void left by letting go of what wasn't meant for you. This process of shifting your focus isn't without its challenges. There will be moments when old habits try to pull you back, times when you're tempted to reach out or to fall into patterns of overthinking. But each time you choose to prioritize yourself and your well-being, you're reinforcing a new mindset. You're telling yourself and the world that you are worth the effort it takes to grow and thrive. And as you continue on this path, you'll notice a change in the way you view relationships. You'll no longer settle for connections that drain you or require you to prove your worth. Instead, you'll seek out relationships that are balanced, uplifting, and supportive. You'll attract people who see your value without needing constant reminders, people who respect your boundaries and celebrate your growth. So what happens when you stop caring about him? You start caring about yourself in a way that transforms your life. You take back your energy, your focus, and your power. You step into a new chapter filled with possibilities, knowing that you are capable of creating a life that is rich with purpose, joy, and peace. Let go and let God guide you toward the life you were always meant to live. When you stop caring about him, you allow space for the right relationships to enter your life, connections that are mutual, fulfilling, and rooted in respect. For so long, your heart has been tied to someone who may not have been capable of giving you the love and care you deserve. Whether through indifference, neglect, or incompatibility, you've been pouring into a well that never truly filled your soul. But when you let go of that, you open yourself to the possibility of relationships that align with who you are and what you truly need. Letting go isn't easy, and it's not an act of bitterness or anger. It's an act of faith. It's trusting that just as some people come into your life for a season, others are meant to stay. It's about understanding that God has a way of orchestrating relationships that are for your good, even if the process of letting go feels painful in the moment. When you release someone who wasn't meant to walk with you into the next chapter of your life, you make room for people who will celebrate you for who you are. These are the people who see your value without you having to prove it. They're the ones who appreciate your strengths, respect your boundaries, and love you in a way that lifts you up rather than weighs you down. As you begin to focus on yourself and your growth, you'll notice that the relationships you attract start to shift. No longer are you drawn to people who drain your energy or leave you feeling inadequate. Instead, you gravitate toward those who add to your life, friends, mentors, partners who inspire and encourage you. These are the relationships that reflect the love and care you've been showing yourself. Healthy relationships are built on mutual respect and shared values. They're not about one person always giving while the other takes. They're about partnership, balance, and a deep understanding of each other's needs and dreams. When you stop caring about someone who couldn't meet you halfway, you free yourself to find relationships where this balance exists. But here's the key: this transformation doesn't happen by accident. It begins with the work you do within yourself. When you let go of the emotional baggage tied to someone who didn't value you, you're not just opening yourself to others, you're becoming someone who's ready to receive and nurture healthy connections. You're learning to set boundaries, to communicate your needs, and to prioritize your peace. These lessons become the foundation for every relationship you build moving forward. This shift also allows you to deepen your relationship with God. Without the distractions of an unhealthy connection, you can focus on the one relationship that will never fail you. In God, you find unconditional love, unwavering support, and a clear sense of direction. He becomes your source of strength and your guide in discerning who should have a place in your life. As you grow spiritually, you'll find that your relationships reflect this growth. You'll be drawn to people who share your values and who are walking similar paths of faith and purpose. These relationships will not only enrich your life, but also help you stay grounded in your identity and calling. It's important to remember that finding the right relationships takes time. There may be seasons of loneliness as you transition from old connections to new ones, but even in those moments, trust that God is preparing you for something better. Trust that He is aligning your path with people who will love and support you in ways you've never experienced before. When you stop caring about him, you're not just closing a door, you're stepping into a new chapter filled with possibility. You're creating space for relationships that align with your worth and your purpose. And as you walk forward, guided by faith and self-love, you'll find that the right people come into your life at exactly the right time. Trust the process and embrace the journey.